Okay, hello and welcome everybody. Tanya here with New Earth Consciousness, and I'm here with Jessica. And sorry, what's happening here? There we go. So Jessica is the creator of Real RAW Momma podcast, where empaths get real and raw about the mother wound, as well as a holistic wellness architect with a lifestyle collection of holistic products, technologies, and tools that help cleanse the blood, increase microcirculation, and support the nervous system and balance hormones so that you can live your most inspired and healthy life. So welcome, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm super excited and grateful to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create the Real RAW Momma podcast.
Yeah. So it started probably, pretty much right after I became a mother in 2020. I had a pandemic baby in August of 2020. Then we had fires that kind of came through the heart of Oregon, where I lived about after my son was born. And so I found myself in a situation as a mother where I was with my child most of the time alone. And I needed materially in terms of, home and things like that, but my partner at the time was.
Jessica, the connection's not good. It's really sounding robotic and choppy.
How weird.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Maybe
Try again. Just speak for a moment. Maybe it'll tune in a little better. But as soon as you start talking, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
All right. Try again. Let's see. And if it doesn't work, we might have to just reschedule with a different.
Yeah. Maybe that might be better. Yeah. Let's see. How is it sounding right now?
It's sounding good now.
Okay, we never know with technology. I'm like, are we in Mercury retrograde again? I don't know. Because I've been having other challenging technical difficulties recently too that haven't been the Wi-Fi.
I have as well. It's been kind of weird last week. Sounding good now, so I don't know what the deal is.
Okay, well, we'll try again. So in 2020 is when I had my son, and I kind of found myself in a very difficult situation of just being the only one with my child 24/7 with a newborn baby. And I just kind of came to me this mother wound that I don't think is specific to mothers, but I think when you become a mother, it becomes so much more obvious and apparent. To me, the mother wound has a lot of different meanings. I call it the wound of creation, the wound of incarnation, the why the F am I here? Why did you bring me here? Why did I bring you here? It's the wounds that are passed down to, is the audio okay or no?
It's great.
Okay. It's the wounds that are passed down to children through unsupported mothers. It's the wound of being a mother on a planet that I feel doesn't truly honor the source of creation. And it's the shunning more than anything else of the deep feminine current of energy within all things and all beings. It's that energy within you that fully receives you as you are in every moment, no matter how you think or how you feel or how you act. It's that unconditional love that we're always seem to be searching for outside of ourselves that can really only be found within. And so while I had maybe been aware of many of these things, I didn't really fully feel it until I became a mother. And so I was inspired to start my podcast, which was really all about sharing people's personal perspective and their personal journey on what the mother wound means to them. And I didn't just bring on mothers, I bring on men to share their personal perspective, as a lot of men are kind of coming to this awakening as well. And so I feel like it's kind of come in its time. The planet is ready for this feminine rising within all of us.
Yeah, beautiful. So what in facing the mother wound, I mean, I think so many of us carry that deep wound. I would say there have been, I think maybe only maybe one person in my life that I feel like had an amazing relationship with his mom. But it seems, like he just loves her so much. Maybe a couple people had amazing moms, but I find that, yeah, more often than not, there is definitely a strong disconnect. And obviously, I mean, there's obviously so many things that cause that, right? From our backwards sort of birthing process in and of itself, right? And we think about our mothers, I think that when my mom tells me her birth story, I don't think she was even with her mom when she was born. I think she was whisked away into another room and
Wow.
didn't see her mom for I don't know how many days. And that was pretty typical, right? In the late 40s and 50s and before. And fast forward to now, where I chose to, have a home birth, which, was radical for a lot of, and still is radical for a lot of people. But I know, like, for myself, my mother wound, so my birthing story is that I was born in a hospital, but I was born completely numbed out, because of the epidural. And so in my own journey of healing, like, that was really a big core wound of coming into this world totally disconnected from my body. Like, I did not feel the passage, like they say that the passage through the vaginal canal is important, that squeezing effect, and it's part of the incarnating process. And so if you're coming out just limp and numb, there's a big step that's being missed. But anyway, enough of like my story, but I feel I'm curious to know, in your podcast, what are some of the ways that are revealed in terms of how we can begin to heal this wound? Like, what is your approach, and what are some other approaches that you've learned along the way?
Yeah, I feel the biggest part of our journey is learning how to reparent ourselves, because as you said, a lot of us are born through disconnection almost immediately. Our mother is supposed to be our source of like deep, intimate connection and unconditional love. And oftentimes, depending on the circumstances you were birthed into and also the circumstances of your mother, I mean, how many women were born so many lifetimes having children where they weren't supported, on a daily basis. And we learn our boundaries from our mother, I feel. First, we've learned those from our mother. And so we learned so many things from our mother. And if we didn't have a nurturing, supportive mother who also had strong, healthy boundaries, then a lot of those things can be very challenging for us to learn in life. And so I think that's one of our first journeys, is learning how to provide ourselves the parenting, the mothering that maybe we didn't receive in a healthy way from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that can affect a lot with our relationships and how we find ourselves in relationship dynamics. I know it definitely affected my relationship with men, and what I was willing to put up with as a woman in a relationship. And so at 40 years old now, I can say I have a lot stronger, healthy boundaries. But it's been a long journey of self-love. I mean, feel like that's what this whole life is about, is your journey back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back to ourself, and like back to the connection with the original mother, which is Mother Earth. It's like,
Right.
I remember my firstborn saying at the age of, I think he was 4, and we were driving in the car heading our way home, and he's like, you're not my real mom. I was like, oh, really? Okay, well, who is your real mom? I was curious. Okay. He's like, he says, Mother Earth. He says, I was born from an eagle's nest. And I was like, dang, okay. Yeah, this is true. Earth Mama is your true mother, like, we are all born from her. So yeah, I feel like in this time where when you talk about the divine feminine rising, yeah, it's so obvious, this old paradigm that we've been in for eons has been, very much about, dominating nature dominating and trying to control our bodies, seeing them as machines rather than seeing spirit matter as one. And I'm curious about if you're willing to share, because in our conversation before you were talking about ayahuasca and how I've heard of ayahuasca as being this very, very much like a grandmother kind of energy. And it does seem to me that our connection with these plant medicines are becoming more and more popular as a way to reconnect with ourselves and our relationships after having been so disconnected. So I was wondering if you would be willing to share about that a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to. I think I first came into my field, ayahuasca came into my field in 2017. Probably the beginning of 2017. And then I made my first journey to Peru the summer of 2017. And yeah, my life has never been the same since then. And I've had many journeys with her since then. I had another journey to Peru in 2018. And then I found a woman here in Ashland, Oregon, where I live, that I sit with on a regular basis, probably two to three times a year. Actually, March 8th, I'm going to be visiting with her again. And it truly is the medicine of the earth. And I've sat with other medicines, and I honor those and the wisdom that they have to share. But I just feel that she really is the medicine of the earth. And like you said, she's very much a grandmother energy that I describe it as she holds your hand and she holds you throughout the whole journey, but she doesn't hide anything from you. And so it's not for the faint of heart, and I don't say that to scare anyone. And I do feel it's very important that you find, like the woman I found here in Ashland. She holds such a sacred, beautiful, feminine, and there's masculine energy in there as well. She has a guardian that sits with us as well, Mitchell. But it's really just a sacred, beautiful, feminine held space where you can feel safe enough to be seen in your darkest moments, because some people do go through some of their darkest moments in this space. But you come out feeling so much gratitude. I've never felt so much gratitude for life. And even in the middle of my journeys, a lot of times I'll be like, I'm never doing this again.
Oh, really?
And then I'll come out of it and I just have so much gratitude, and I recognize that I don't even do it so much for myself. I do it for the whole planet, because the work that I do in these ceremonies, I can feel it like astrally, like projecting across the whole planet.
Right. Yeah. And that's how I've always seen healing. It's like anytime that we on an individual level shift and heal and transform, we are impacting the collective. And yeah, with so many of us turning towards truth, it's an inevitability that it's awakening us to what's really here. And so with that being said, I'd love to dive into the health products that you've been promoting. One thing that it's interesting, like everything happens for a reason. And before I met you, a very good friend of mine from high school, she ended up getting a job with this nonprofit that basically is advocating to remove GMO foods from school lunches. Like that's the vision. And part of from what I understand, that came from the requirements is that she had to begin to research basically the toxins that are in our environment. And of course, she came across the reality of plastics and the microplastics that are literally present everywhere. I mean, it's kind of like, even when I say it, it's so disheartening, because it's like she basically did a challenge, gathered a few people, said, we're going to do a sorry, plug this in. We're going to do a plastic-free cooking challenge. And I was like, sure, I'm down for that. And I go to my kitchen and I'm like, oh my God, everything is in plastic. Everything. Everything. Like, I'm thinking about, okay, what can I get from the store that's not in plastic? I mean, yes, of course, fruits and vegetables you can get without having to put them in a plastic bag, for example. But then when you start thinking about, milk or bags of anything, even now the paper bags are lined with plastic, right? So when you think, like when I order stuff from Azure which is like a bulk place where you can get things in bulk, thinking, oh yeah, no, it's in a paper bag. I'm like, oh no, it's not. It's actually in plastic. And they're finding that these plastics off gas. And so when we're storing our food in plastic, we're buying, it's like, it's quite overwhelming. Like, I felt so overwhelmed. And of course, the awareness now is sort of like front and center. Okay, well, what can I do? What are the things that I can do to reduce my plastic consumption? But still, we're still exposed regardless. And anyway, you had shared with me a particular product that tackles this issue. And I actually came across, maybe it was a video that you had shared, that there's like the amount of plastic that's in the brain now on average is like at the size of a plastic spoon.
Yeah.
That's how much plastic is in our bodies now. So yeah, talk to us about this, because this is a very serious issue that we can't continue to blind ourselves from.
Yeah. It's kind of another aspect of the mother wound, if you think about it. It's like how much we are polluting our Mother Earth with plastic, and also our beautiful bodies that were created by our mothers and the earth. And it can be unknowingly, and also it's very present and conscious for a lot of people now. I think it's becoming more so now. And I did share that video with you. There's another video, a podcast by Mel Robbins, who's very well known, and she was talking to a doctor, I forget his name, but he was saying that, about 2 years ago, if you'd asked him if they knew what it was doing in the body, and if the body just naturally got rid of it, he would have said, well, he didn't really know. And that, yeah, the body probably somehow naturally gets rid of all these little microplastics. And they're finding now that's not the case. Like, it is building up in our little teeny tiny micro vessels. A lot of people think of your veins, your arteries, and your heart is the part of moving through blood through your body, which it does, but it does a very small piece of moving blood through your body compared to these little tiny micro vessels. There's literally, I forget how many thousands can fit inside a human hair. That's how small they are.
Oh, wow.
And so we have 10, I think, million or billion, I forget the exact number, in just one of our body. So all these little tiny microvessels, if you can imagine what these little microplastic particles are doing throughout our entire system. If you look around you today, I've never seen so much dis-ease, ailment, chronic pain, chronic everything on this planet. And we have access to more things than we've ever had, So it's kind of like, what is happening? And, cancer, all autoimmune, all of these things that we never used to deal with before are just rampant in little kids, in animals. And so it's like something is not right on this planet. And I knew this was a problem, and I've been in the holistic wellness space for probably about a decade now. And so I've done a lot of research, and I've taken a lot of amazing supplements over the years. And what I've come to discover is the body is not really designed for supplements. It's designed for food. It's designed for nutrition from high quality, pure, potent food. And the problem is most of our soil is now polluted with microplastics and heavy metals and all these things, and pollutants and toxins. And so it's like, once you start learning all this stuff, it's like, it feels like overwhelming and daunting. And like you said, you walk in the grocery store and there's plastic on your microgreens, whether you eat meat or you eat, microgreens. It's like, I just bought microgreens the other day. I'm like, plastic. So it's like unavoidable, even if you eat clean whole foods and you don't eat out or whatever, you almost just have to like have your own farm, grow your own food, and then also hope that your soil isn't polluted. So it's really challenging. And so I was so grateful that as I was becoming more and more aware of all these things, about a month and a half ago, a naturopathic doctor friend of mine posted on Facebook something about this product that was helping to cleanse the blood. And
Mm.
I reached out to her and I'm like, why haven't you shared this with me? Like, this was like speaking to me because I know a lot about the microcirculatory system from a technology that I own that increases microcirculation in the body, but it's like a $5,000 machine and not everyone can afford it. And also, it doesn't cleanse the blood. It moves blood through your system, but if your blood is dirty, then it's kind of it's doing good, but it's also it's also just not cleansing the blood. And so this product that I found is a quantum microcirculation nutrition spray. You can literally give it to newborn babies, you can give it to pets, you can give it to elderly. It's for everyone. And it actually goes into the bloodstream and cleanses the blood of microplastics, toxins, pollutants, and everything that doesn't belong in an oxygen rich environment. And then it also helps open up the microcirculatory system, the vascular system, so that blood will actually move freely so that it can do its job. I mean, our blood is the river of life. It is what carries all of the waste and toxins through our body. And also, even people don't realize our cells produce, waste. And so it carries all of the waste out of our bodies and it brings all of the nutrients and oxygen in. And so when we're constantly polluting our body and then also not like opening up the river, if you will, in our system, everything is just getting stagnant and stuck and causing inflammation. And as we know, inflammation causes pain and disease and pretty much every ailment that we experience on this planet. So that is kind of a little short and sweet of it. It comes from 44 plants. And there's over 30 years of research behind this out of Europe. And it's not just like plant extracts. They have studied all of the molecules in these plants and found that the top 2 or 3 molecules from each of these plants make this combination that actually basically uplifts the immune system, it uplifts the vascular system, and it also activates your own stem cell production. So it
Mm.
actually not just helps get rid of disease or ailments of the body, it also will regenerate your body and help you reverse your biological age actually over time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard of any product that can do all of those things. And and I agree with you. I think supplements, they are hard to absorb, for the body to absorb and break down. It's like, I can't get my kid to take supplements. He doesn't like, and it's probably because there's a deeper wisdom there that's saying like, oh, I don't want to take it, like it's too much. Um, so yeah, what you had shared with me as far as some of the results that people are getting, can you share that with us? Like, when someone starts taking this product, what are some of the results and the experiences
Yeah.
people are
I'll
having?
share. I'll share a little bit of my experience as well, and also bringing up children who don't like supplements. My son is 4, well, almost 4.5, and when I first started spraying this in his mouth, because you spray it in your mouth 2 to 3 times a day, they have what's called the blood upgrade protocol. Because every 4 months you get all new red blood cells. It's called a blood cycle. So every 4 months you get new red blood cells. And so if you do this blood upgrade protocol, which is 4 sprays in the morning, 4 sprays in the afternoon, and then 4 in the evening, then after 4 months, you'll have all new red blood cells with clean blood that is charged with the frequencies of these plants. And so now we're speaking also, not just cleaning the blood, but also frequencies of actually uplifting your whole system. But my 4-year-old, when I first started spraying it in his mouth, he would like kind of make it like a cringy face because it's like it reminds me of bitters, like bitters you would spray in your mouth before you eat because ideally we sort of start to salivate before we eat our food so that we make the bile so that we can actually digest and break down our food. But a lot of us probably don't experience that before we eat our food because we're rushing and eating and all of that. And so this spray is designed so that you do it 15 minutes before you eat if you're going to do it before a meal. And so he, he's never had bitters before, and he was like, "Ugh, I don't really like this." But now he literally will grab it and bring it to me to spray in his mouth. So we're like like about a month in now. So I'm like, something's shifting. And
Yeah.
he already has a really strong immune system. He doesn't hardly ever get sick, but this winter, so far he hasn't even had a cough or a cold. So that's really cool. For me personally, in May of this last year, I had started grinding my teeth or clenching my jaw just on the left side while I was sleeping. And I had just moved into an environment with another single mother and thought that it was going to be a great way for us to support and help each other. And it just ended up turning out to be like a very challenging situation for my physical body because I wasn't used to living with other people. And also, this other woman was also a very intense human, and I'm a projector in human design, and I'm just not really designed to be around a lot of people a lot of times and to have people like managing my time. And so I just think, and she also bathed her house in smart lights, and it just ended up being like a very detrimental situation to my physical body. And so for 7 months, I survived that. And at first, I didn't know what was going on with my mouth. I thought I had a cavity. I've never had a cavity. Turns out I didn't have a cavity. Then I finally got so bad the end of September, I went to an urgent care, and he's like, I don't see any infection. He's like, are you sure you don't grind your teeth? It looks like almost all the soft tissue on this side of your face is really inflamed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, that's probably what's been going on. And about a month and a half later, I ended up moving out of that environment, but I still had immense amounts of pain, and it was like hard to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to think, is it me just grinding my teeth, or do I have a tumor? Like, my mind's like going down all these rabbit holes. Yeah. And so finally, this product was introduced to me the middle of December, but I didn't get my product. I think I ordered like right before Christmas. I got it beginning of January. And when I tell you, the first time I sprayed it in my mouth, my body did this like this sigh of relief. Like the pain wasn't immediately gone, but your nervous system you feel it through your whole body where you're just like, like this is what I've needed. And over the next 2 weeks, almost all the pain and inflammation was gone. And now a month later, the pain and inflammation is gone. I still feel like I might be clenching a little tiny bit at night, but it's gotten so much better. And I'm only, like I said, about a month in, and the blood upgrade protocol is 4 months. My sleep has greatly improved. I already had pretty good sleep, but it's gotten even deeper. And my dreams are just like so vivid. I haven't had vivid dreams like this in a while. And then my energy when I wake up, I feel vibrant and like I actually like want to do things. I'm excited for my day.
Yeah.
So as a single mom, that's huge for me. And I think that's probably huge for a lot of people on this planet. But more than anything else, like to me, those are great things. But the stories you hear every Sunday night, they have these Sunday calls. And I'm telling you, they're like miraculous, like people healing stage 4, you know what, people reversing things like MS, Parkinson's, like all
Wow.
kinds of things. And it's not because of the product though. It's because the body is self-healing. The body is the miracle. When the body has the proper nutrition on a cellular level, it knows how to heal itself. It can reverse anything. Like
Yeah.
the body really is the miracle.
It's so interesting. So it's almost, to me, it seemed, because it's such a small amount that you're basically putting into the body. I mean, 4 sprays. I mean, I just got the product, and so I just started it a couple of days ago. And it is subtle, like, and it definitely feels like a frequency more than anything, of like, here's the frequency, and the body's like, oh yeah, I know this frequency or whatever.
Right.
And then it knows what to do. I will say, like, the first day that I took it, it was really interesting. Like and I don't know if I'm like, is this my imagination or is this really the product? But I could almost feel like a certain place in my head where it was like there was a pain that I never had pain. There was a pain that kind of popped in. I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of sharp. And then it faded. So I'm like, wow, I wonder if it was just clearing something out. I don't know if that's, typical, but
Well, so there haven't been any recorded like contraindications or any kind of like hercs, like when people do major detoxes, they can have like kind of like dangerous hercs reactions. We don't have people experience that, but I have personally myself and other people are experiencing like you'll feel like things are leaving your body.
mm,
Like for me, whenever I detox, it's always through my skin, of course, my least favorite place. But I know
mhm,
other people feel things more in their joints or different things. And so I definitely have had that experience where it's now like starting to clear up now. But like I said, I'm in like probably the beginning of month 2 now. So people have had experiences like that. But then I have other people who have like her husband had MRSA. Within 4 days, it was already clearing up. She had a horrible, I don't even know what it was called, but and she's had it 2 or 3 times in her life where her lips would literally like look like she had lacerations on her lips. They would crack
mm,
so bad.
mm,
And that healed within days. Because they do also have a cream or like a salve that
mhm,
uses some of the same ingredients plus an additional 8 ingredients that are for skin.
mm.
And actually was designed for stage 3 and 4 burn victims. And so it actually literally helps your body regrow skin and even potentially bone over time.
Yeah.
So, and all it's doing is it's activating your own stem cell production.
Mhm.
So it's going to go where your body needs it first. The cream is kind of like a more localized version of the spray, if you will, where it's working on one area, whereas the spray is going to start, moving through your bloodstream. And yeah, it's going to hit different places and affect you differently as it continues to move through your body to clear things out.
Yeah. Amazing. Very cool. So, if people are interested in exploring more about this technology, how can they connect with you? How could they check it out and get started?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love partnering with people. So I was so excited to have you join as I know you just mostly wanted to become a customer to begin with, but I always encourage people because most companies offer an affiliate aspect. It's like, especially if you have a podcast, it always makes sense to
Yeah.
be able to partner with companies that have beautiful products that bring life to the planet. And so you are an affiliate with the company. So if anybody feels inspired to purchase, they can always reach out to you. And then also, I would say reach out to you or me about these Sunday night calls. Every Sunday, people share their personal experiences after they share a little bit about the science and how this product came to be and the research that's behind it. Then people will share their experiences. And I never know who's going to be on these calls because there's hundreds and hundreds of people on these calls. And so some people have used this product for 5 years. Some people have just started using the product. And so different people will get on at different times and share their miraculous, and I have to literally call them miraculous because like I said, I've taken a lot of supplements and been a part of a lot of things over the years, and I've never seen people have so much healing with just one product. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point. And that's really what I love is eliminating so much of the noise of the supplement world, which is also the more research I'm doing can also be very damaging to the body as well because we're not designed to receive isolates. And so when we're throwing I know
Yeah.
people who take like 16 pills a day. It's like, and their body doesn't even feel energized because their body is using so much energy trying to figure out what to do with all of these isolates.
Yeah.
And so this is so different because it's like the body's like, oh, something that it understands what to do with.
That makes sense.
Um, and so on this call, I would recommend getting on this Sunday night call. Literally every single person that I've had on this call, and I've only gone through a small fraction of the people I know, but everyone I've gotten on this call has signed up as an affiliate or as a customer because they just can't stop listening to how powerful this is and what it's doing for people.
Yeah.
I think stories are really what matter. Like people are so sick and tired of buying things off of television or off of a shelf when they have no idea how it actually affects somebody that they know. And so I think the best thing to do is for you to hear like first count experiences. We also have a Facebook group where people are sharing their experiences. There's about my naturopath, she started this group about 2 months ago. And so there's about 1,000 people in there sharing their personal experiences as they're going on this journey of cleansing their blood. And I'm just so excited to see, like, I feel like, you know, in referencing back to the mother wound, when we heal our bodies, when we clean out our bodies and our systems, I think then, you know, how we treat our bodies is how we treat the earth. And so the more we start to clean our blood and cleanse it of what it does not belong, I feel like the more the answers and the solutions are going to come for how we cleanse the earth as well, and nurture the earth.
Absolutely. That really hits home for me. I've always kind of had this knowing of that, you know, everything that we're seeing that is happening outside is also a reflection of what's happening inside our bodies. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think you're right on with that. Is that when we actually come back to our original blueprint, these amazing bodies designed by the creator, which is like self-healing, like you give it all the right things, you know, and it's also, you know, it's an incredible, you know, biological, spiritual, I can't think of the word machine. It's not a machine, but like this, it has the ability to connect with the divine, with the cosmos, with the earth, with, you know, all of, I think that when we really start to heal these deeper levels, it's like the wisdom just drops in.
Yeah.
Just know what you know. Like there's just more of an instinctual knowing of that's good for me, that's not good for me, like, you know? So yeah, so it's amazing. I'm super excited to be on this journey and yeah, just kind of track my experience with the product. And so yeah, anybody that's watching, I will drop the links in the little bio intro here with the video. So you guys can click on that and go there. You can find Jessica on Facebook. You can message her there. You can message me. Yeah, to me, as a mother, you know, with children, it's like, I feel like I'm always trying to find like, okay, what's going to be the right product for my child so that they're getting the nutrition that they need, you know, and it's been a little frustrating. And I feel like, oh my God, like the beauty of this product is so simple. I'm like,
You can also spray it on food too. There's actually like a little group of women. Somebody was telling me this on my team. There's a group of women who sprayed on their husband's food because their husbands don't want to take supplements, and so they just spray it on their food.
their coffee.
Yeah. Or in their coffee. Yeah. I mean, any way that we can. I mean, obviously, it's better if it goes directly into your bloodstream through like under your tongue and stuff. But any way you can do it. I mean, for your kid too. Luckily, my son is like he willingly opens his mouth now for it. But yeah, any way that we can do, because yeah, as a mother, it just, if I didn't have a solution, I would just feel so overwhelmed by all of the things we see happening on this planet. But I feel like there's like two worlds existing simultaneously where we can like fully fall into the darkness and all of the problems and the challenges we have on this planet. And then there's this other like light side where it's like, yes, there are solutions and we're kind of coming into a golden age, but we're like in that sort of precipice of like, do we fall back into like overwhelm, or do we actually see that there is another way?
Yeah, it's like, exactly. It's like we can either stay in the scarcity of there not being enough of anything to, oh yeah, all the solutions are here. There's more than enough. It's just keep taking that next step and that next step and that next step and just following that. Yeah, it's super exciting. That's what I love about my channels, connecting with people like you. And other like visionaries and healers and leaders who are really tuned in to what's actually really possible. And yeah, it's just such an honor to have you here. And I'm so appreciative of what you've come to share with me. And I hope that this message really lands for people and they they realize that, okay, there could be something here for them that could really change their life in a big way.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and can I add one more thing? I forgot to share. So I have a program. Well, it's a free guide right now that I just developed with my dear friend called the Vibrancy Reset. And it's all about how to implement small daily practices, because yes, we can feel so overwhelmed by how to get healthy or how we can be a change on this planet. And for me, what I found in my own life is it just starts with small daily practices, and just start with one practice. And so I have in this guide different ways for you to find that practice that might work for you, that might shift something in you to help you show up for yourself daily. Because life is. It's how can we show up first for ourselves, and then the more we show up for ourselves, we're able to show up for others. And I feel like this spray, if we can spray 1 or 2 or 3 times a day, like that's like a huge part of showing up for ourselves to nourish our body and to help clean out what doesn't belong.
yeah, beautiful. So yeah, so that's there here on the screen. You guys are seeing that, the vibrancyreset.com. Grab that free guide. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful share that you're offering. So important. Yeah, all the little ways. It's like all the little habits. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. If we can just start adopting new habits, and then suddenly over time you'll find like, oh, I feel great, or oh yeah, like I'm feeling like I'm walking my purpose, and
Yeah.
it isn't so overwhelming. Yeah, when
Right.
you,
Or even just having a tool belt. I call it a little toolkit where it's like, oh, I'm feeling this in this moment. Like, what is the practice I can do to like help bring me back to center, to remind me who I am, to remind me that I'm going to be okay.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jessica. I really appreciate you, and thank you to everyone who's watching. Either they watch live or is catching the replay. Yeah, until next time, we'll talk soon. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you.